That's really huge. That's just huge. You were talking about the getting like a picture of yourself when you were a child, but really what's going on here, it's almost like I am now talking to this child self that's in my subconscious mind, and I'm putting myself in the position of the parent, really, and I am coaching my little child in my subconscious mind. And it's like, it's reassuring this child, and the child's going, oh, okay. I mean, it's almost like you're helping it to grow up and mature a little bit, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's the beauty also about that. When you think about a problem like a cluttered mind or mind racing or anxiety, it is really not about solving this problem, it's about outgrowing it. And that's really what you're doing. You're outgrowing your patterns and your beliefs of the past, and do this very, very consciously. Which just brings us back to the children. And I mentioned before, I want to show one technique that I just love, that also helps to get out of this tunnel vision, that helps children to learn better. It has actually been called the learning state, because in several studies it showed that by using that techniques, children can sit still easier. They improve their grades. There was a study that showed it improved it by 2 points just by doing this every time before they went to school. So it's a really fun technique, but it also declutters your mind. And you can use that as an adult as well, of course.
And this is a pretty quick technique.
It's very quick, very easy. But again, you want to train your mind to do this. You want to definitely use this on an ongoing basis so that there is a new neural pathway formed and your mind understands, okay, this is what we are doing. So all you need to do is basically to think about your mind, and when it's cluttered, as a mind that is closed down and somewhat in a tunnel vision. And so what we are doing is connecting that part of the mind that is asleep or not really paying attention right now with the part of the mind that's like hyper-focused and just putting all this stressful and cluttering information in. So you're moving yourself from tunnel vision to a wider perspective, literally connecting all of the hemispheres of the brain, activating your brain in a way that it's much more open to take on information in a calm way than being in the tunnel vision, which is associated with a more stressful way, which is more, when you think about any kind of predator, usually predator birds, for example, they have the eyes more in a tunnel vision to really zoom in to the prey, and a more calm and relaxed way is actually to be able to have a wider perspective.
So what do I do again to get this wider perspective? This is something I could do like in the morning before I go to work.
Exactly, or for kids, for example, before they go to school. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at a dot. You can just put a dot on the wall, and that dot should be above the horizontal level. So your eye should go a little bit up, so maybe like 2 feet above the horizontal level, and you simply look at the dot on the wall. That's the starting point.
Okay.
That's where you focus on. Now, raising your eyes up helps you also to not be so emotional. There have been great studies that showed when we look up, we feel less than when we look down. And ideally, you want to actually feel pretty much neutral. Then you have your fingers like this. So basically, you're looking through those fingers at that dot. Now, the fingers are basically your guides that help you to open your mind and connect the brain hemispheres. What you do is gently and slowly moving the fingers out. And as you're moving out, you still are focusing on the dots, but in your peripheral vision, you see the fingers moving. Now, what happens is that your periphery literally begins to become wider, and you move your fingers out until you are not able to see them anymore, and then you bring them back right to that boundary place where you can just see them. Keep in mind, the focus is on the dot, but the periphery is open. You breathe slow and deep. You can even move your fingers so that the periphery also of the auditory, of the hearing, is open. Now, your entire physiology will relax. Your mind will become more open. And as a fun exercise, once you do this for a minute or two, you can even think about something stressful, and you're going to realize, I cannot become stressed out when I do this. I had a client coming in once who just when he came in already started ranting about his wife. And he said, oh, she really drove me crazy. And he was all in anger. And I just set him down, let him do this exercise for 2 minutes. He put his hands down and said, oh my God, what did I do? That was so stupid. And he had to call his wife to apologize because all of a sudden he could see more clearly and realize, well, all this upset was completely unnecessary.
It completely defused the emotional charge on the situation, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And let go of the clutter that was in there and really opened his mind to see the bigger and wider perspective. And that's what happens, when you enter a space with a wider perspective, you learn faster, you take on information more in the subconscious. It's almost like your funnel opens to take information in, but also to let things out that are unnecessary because there's just a wider flow, and it's very, very powerful.
So can you apply this to specific situations? Like maybe I have a story about something. I've heard many people say, well, they something happened with one of their parents, and they, as a little child, they interpreted their parent didn't love them, and they carried this around for years. My parents don't love me, and they outpictured this. So if they're aware of this, can they use this little technique to defuse that story?
Absolutely. And it's really powerful because you may, after you have opened your mind, really realize that there are other perspectives that you didn't have before. And so really letting that mind be open through this technique, doing it for 2 minutes without thinking about the story. So you need to first get in the space and then thinking about the story. You may actually realize that you can see these from different points of view and the emotion is diffused. Because that's really basically what's inside of us. There is always an ability and a potential to change and heal and grow beyond those limitations. And we just don't necessarily know how to access them.